Alright gang, welcome back to our Island Preservation Challenge here on Ronida Island. Still September, we're still in the process of kind of where we left off in the last episode, harvesting this wheat field. Worker is still harvesting up the cotton field over there for us. And you may notice in the right hand corner, we all of a sudden have lost, near it makes no difference, $20,000. We're pretty much poor from where we left off in the last episode. So why are we poor? What have I been doing with all of that money? Well, quite frankly, all I've really been doing is kind of sprucing up the area. Making it look prettier, making it look better. One of those things you may see in the distance in the right-hand corner, I added a tree. Couple reasons for that. One, I've been going back and forth about the track color, right? Or the track design, the track texture. I said I wanted to go back to the sand, but I didn't really want to spend the money on it. Well, I did it anyway. I got a little slap happy here on the 4th of July weekend. By the way, happy 4th of July to you. I got a little slap happy. I decided to go ahead and just do it. So I went ahead and put down the sand once again. Now, originally we had sand down. We removed that sand because at the time the equipment we had was really struggling with it. Now we've got some tractors that are a little bit more hefty. It shouldn't be as big of a deal for us moving forward. And I really wanted to add that sand back because it is a little bit more realistic for where we are, right? If I was going to put a track in of some sort, I mean, sand is going to be the easiest and the cheapest that you would put in this area, right? So we put the sand back down, so we've got the connection points into the actual beach area. I'm very happy with how it looks. I like the texture differences between the dark and the light here. It really looks good. The other big portion, we spent over $10,000 on a fence, and you might be saying to yourself, why did you spend money on a fence? It's not going to do anything. It's not going to help anything. You're right, it won't. But my point at the very beginning, and as we move forward here, was that I want this to look realistic, and I want it to look good. So I said we were going to start adding some, fences in, just to add that design flair to it, if you will. So it's only step one. We've got a lot more work to do, really, to get all the fence work down. But basically, this fence is the exact same fence that we're utilizing for the chickens, so it helps tie that together. And there won't be fences everywhere, but there's going to be fences in areas just like this where we've got a field mostly where we're going to be kind of going this way with it, harvesting up and down this way. We won't really be going this way, right? So we're just going to kind of use those fences as an accent, if you will, to the area just to make it look a little bit better and make it look a little bit more cohesive. So that's kind of the idea there. That's kind of the plan here. And so I've kind of already started that here by spending all the money on that one fence area. Some of you might be saying, why would you spend money on that? It's just a waste of money. You're right, it is. But again, I do want this to look good, and that's really step one of making it look good, is adding some fence work in and then just making sure what I'm working with here I like. Now, the reason why I added a tree down here, and there's a couple small trees here with it, but the reason why I added a tree here, well, this was grass here before. When I was painting and kind of connecting this down here, I got rid of it. I wasn't really wanting to, but it removed it. So I thought, well, I removed a tree that I didn't really want to remove down there. So I'll just here I am going through the area again, and I'm full. So I thought, you know what? Let's just add a tree back in there. Now, the tree that we added in is not a palm tree, right? It's not even one of those trees, those pine type of trees up there. It's a different kind of tree that I added there on purpose. I just like the way it looks, and I think it fits in well down there with the palm trees, even though it's not a palm tree. There's actually, which is surprising to me, there's no option for us to put down any kind of a palm tree. So there's no... If I go into the construction menu here and I go to trees, there's no palm tree here in this set, which is kind of weird, right? They've got palm trees on the map, but there's no palm tree in here. You would think the map would have some kind of a palm tree that's within here that you could use. There's not. So when there's no palm tree, I decided to go with that tree down there. I just like the way it looks, so that's what we went with. It wasn't expensive. It was less than $1,000 for that tree, so it's not really that big of a deal. That was not the bulk of the money. The bulk of the money, honestly, was the fence. And then the rest of it really was the redoing the sand for all of the track pieces around the area here. So did we take a step backwards with all of the, well, quite frankly, the fun I had by, exploring the possibility of adding some accent type of things to the farm itself? Yes, we did, but it's not that big of a deal. I don't care if it takes us a little bit longer because I'm doing that. I want it to look good, like I mentioned a number of times already. So that's what we did. So anyway, how's everyone doing today? Hope you're all doing well. I'm recording this one actually This is late Thursday night, so it's a couple days before the 4th of July, but by the time this releases, this should be the weekend of the 4th of July, so actually this might actually release on the 4th of July. Regardless, if it is the 4th of July or if it's the day after the 4th of July, happy 4th of July to all of you, at least all of you that are in America. As I mentioned in the last episode, at least I think it was the last episode, happy Canada Day, past a late Canada Day to all of you who are from and live in the Canada area. That was just a couple of days before the 4th of July, so very celebratory week for us here in North America, right? Not a huge soccer fan. I do like to watch the World Cup, but was lucky enough to watch the USA match with some friends and my wife, and that was a lot of fun, right? It was a lot of fun seeing USA win that, so we'll see how they continue to move on here. Hopefully they continue to win. It will be nice to see them win. You know, we got USA hockey doing the clean sweep in the Olympics, right? The women, the men, and the Paralympic, which was awesome. I'd love to see, the U.S. do the same thing in the World Cup. I'm not sure if they will or not. Like I said, I don't really know that much about soccer. I know enough just from, hockey, right? There's similar type of rules. It's not exactly the same, but it's similar. Enough to be dangerous, I guess is how I should say it. But I know they're not really, I mean, they've got a chance, but they're not really the favorite to win the World Cup. But hopefully, you never know, right? You never know. Hopefully, USA pulls it off. I would say that USA men's were not favorited to win the Olympics, but they did, right? So you never know. You just never know. There's a chance that, depending on what happens here, I don't know, I can't remember who Canada's playing, but I think there's a chance in the bracket that we're in where USA and Canada could play each other again. So, in another sport, I should say. They play each other in hockey, of course, but this is completely different, right? This is into the Olympics, but you get what I mean. It would be cool if that was the case, if Canada won their match, USA won their next match, and then they meet up again. That would be pretty cool. Anyway, enough about World Cup, Olympics, USA versus Canada, all that stuff. Enough about that. Hopefully, like I said, you're all doing well. Things are good, man. We're going to get the rest of this done today. Not sure we're going to get the actual straw up today or not. I talked about that in the last episode. I think we might save the straw and this field, for that matter, for October. If we look at, quick autosave here, but if we look at the menu here, the map here, the growth, none of these fields are going to be ready to harvest next month, right? So we're going to want to have some things to do next month. And the fact that I just spent all of our money that we had for any kind of chance of buying more land, we really are going to want to have some things to do, right? So we might forego a couple of things that I said in the last episode. In other words, we might, save a few of these fields, the plowing and all that stuff up for the next month, because it'll give us some things to do. But we'll see, right? We will see. Regardless, we've got to get this field harvested at a bare minimum. We need to get the oilseed radish field directly behind us there, plowed up, and then get that set with some kind of a crop, get it drilled with some kind of a crop. I'm not sure what I want to put in there yet. I had thought about, we've been doing a lot of combining of fields. I had thought about combining these two fields together, but I don't think I'm going to just yet. Soon enough, that will be the case, but I don't think I'm going to do it just yet, because we've got, quite a number of cotton fields, right? And they take a long time to be ready to harvest. So it would be good for us to have some other ones that maybe are a little bit quicker, right? Other than that, we've got, like I said, we'll probably save all the plowing and stuff up for the next episode, or the next month's episode, I should say. But we've got this field here where the green beans were. Almost done with the cotton, of course. So we've got a couple of things we can kind of drag out if we need to. I certainly don't want to do an episode just to do an episode on a month, but I think if we can split some of this stuff up and move it into October, that will help us out. And then from there, if we have nothing going on, we can always just skip some months and go to when we have something to do, right? We're allowing ourselves to do that in this series where, really both active main series that I'm running, I'm allowing that. But normally I wouldn't do that. Not that it makes a difference, but it's just my personal preference to when I'm doing a challenge to not allow more than one episode per month, or not allowed to skip multiple months to get to the next one when you have something to do, right? That's just a personal preference of mine to make it more difficult for us. But with this one and how long this series will end up being, we're definitely allowing that. And really, I'm just following every single rule that Crustu is following. That's what we're doing for this series. I'm not changing anything with the exception of one item, which I said that already. That one item is we're going to allow auto selling because we're on console. He's on PC. He's got a lot of other things that he can use, super strength, etc., which we really can't. We can use, liftable bales and pallets, but that's really the extent. We don't have any of the other abilities that he has, so it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. As we move forward here, I may break a rule though, and that rule is more specifically around the number of workers. Not anytime soon, but once we get really, really big, we've got a large amount of land owned, and we've got a lot that we're doing. I might break the rule a little bit and allow myself to have another worker. We'll see. I know that's one of the main rules that Crustu wanted to have in there, but I might be willing to consider breaking it once we get to episode 90, 100, because I feel like we're going to get there in this series. I mean, we're already in episode 30-something, aren't we? So, I mean, the odds are we're going to hit 100 or way more than that. So, we'll see. We'll see. But it's something I've been thinking about here as we move along. Maybe he has started to break the rule. I know a lot of you have said, and I'm behind, to be fair, but a lot of you said he's been breaking his own rules because he's been just kind of forgetting about them. So I need to get caught up, though. Hopefully this weekend will be that situation. Same with getting some recordings done and getting some stuff out there for my members. Just a bit of a shameless plug there, but my members get early access to videos like this one. I've been a little behind for multiple reasons. I've mentioned it already. There's still an issue. I can't get anything to download from ModHub. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what the problem is. Hopefully here this coming Tuesday, that's normally when Giants releases and updates. Hopefully they'll come out some kind of an update that resolves this or fixes this for us on console, because I think other people are encountering this same situation. But it's a big problem for me. I can't get anything to download no matter what I do. Hard closing, hard resetting everything. Doesn't matter. I can't get anything to download. So luckily, we've got these maps already downloaded, and we're really, even though it doesn't seem like it, we are still at the very beginning stages of a series like this, right? So we've got plenty to do, so it's not a big deal. It was more for what I've kind of talked about, which was, here we go again, I'm just talking and rambling away and not paying attention. It's more for starting a new series, which I've kind of talked about, right? I said here soon, in the next couple of weeks or so, I would like to start a new series and put the Can You Survive 25 series on a bit of a break or a bit of a hiatus for a little while. For that new series, right? I talked about it at length with my members. They do get a members series every month. It's once a month. Normally what we do in that series is we talk about different ideas I have. I present them. I get their feedback. I incorporate their feedback when I can for a new series that may be coming up. If we're in a situation where there's no new series being planned or prepped, I do have a series that I'm running that's just kind of an own the map type of series, but we still talk through different ideas and things that are in my head, things that are coming up, things that I'm planning to do, etc., and get their feedback. So those are really the main big perks you can get for becoming a member. So again, long-winded, shameless plug for myself, but there is a link down below. If that is something you're interested in, certainly don't have to. You'll get to see every single video, with the exception of that one video a month for the members. Like I said, that's just a bonus for them. That's just an extra thing for them to thank them for continuing to support me and the channel. Let's see. I rambled for a long time. What else can I talk about? What other things can I ramble about today that I haven't done yet? I don't know. I mean, I've talked about some other things in the past. I don't think I really need to bring those up anytime soon, where we've got a little bit of time before those become apparent again. More specifically, I'm talking about the shop and a number of other things that I've brought up. I'll put it this way. So I've got 4 different ideas that I have spinning right now. around on a rotation, if you will, on what the next series is going to be. One will be a continuation of Z's adventure, right? So there's been 2 different stories for Z so far. It'll be a continuation of that. One, I've talked about this before, but you know what we did in FS22, where we did kind of like a campaign type of playthrough, where we start. It's just using this as an example. It doesn't have to be in this order, but we start in Riverbed Springs. We do 15, 20, 25 episodes, sell everything, move on to Hutan Pantai. Same thing, 15, 20, 30 episodes. Sell everything, move on to the next map, and so on and so forth. So you go through the Giants maps as like a kind of a campaign. And as you continue to move on, right, you're making money, you sell everything, you kind of start over with more money than you started with initially. And so as you move forward and progress forward through more and more of the maps, you should, in theory, be able to get bigger and bigger equipment, right? You start out with the normal small to medium-sized equipment, then you might move into more medium with a few smalls, then you might move into mostly medium, and then you might start getting into, you know, a little bit of high, a little bit of large, and a little bit of mediums, and then, you know, so on and so forth, right? I like the idea of something like that, but I'm not quite sure if it's time to do that yet or not. And then the other 2, I'm going to kind of keep just kind of tight-lipped on. I'm not really going to bring those 2 up. The other 2 I've mentioned already previously, so I felt confident saying that. The other 2, I really haven't said anything about publicly yet, so we will see what I end up coming up with. But just know there are 4 different ideas that have been swirling around on what we're going to do next. So we will see. What I can tell you is that whatever it is, it's not going to be a challenge series. You know, we've got this, which is kind of an own the map type of series already as it is. A lot of people I saw were saying, you know, maybe I should do another own the map type of series. I like that idea, but we're already doing that here, and it's quite a large series, right? We've got to own every single plot of land here, so it's a lot. So we're already kind of doing that now. Understanding that some people probably are wanting to see me do an own the map series on something where it actually has legitimate fields and not just pieces of plots of land with just grass. I get that. We'll put it on the list. It's going to be on. We'll get it. We'll do that at some point, I promise. But I just don't think it makes a whole lot of sense right now when we're already doing one that's in a essence. It's not even an essence. It is an own the map type of situation, right? So. We'll put it on the back burner, but we'll get to that at some point soon. Other things I saw people say were to do, you know, the campaign type of playthrough that I've mentioned, right? So here I am again. I'm just talking away, not really paying attention to how full this thing is getting. So we'll see. I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to give anything else away. If you're a member, you already know where my head's at, but just lots and lots of ideas, man. I've mentioned this before. I'll mention it again. I have at least 20 different ideas on paper. And again, just because they're ideas on paper does not mean they're always going to come to fruition. But I got a lot of ideas. I got a lot of ideas in my brain. I come up with a lot of random ideas. Some things stick, some things don't, right? Not everything I come up with is going to be a win, I guess is how I'll put it, right? The one tile challenge was 100% a win. Triple threat challenge, I would argue, also was a good win. Both of those are really good ideas, I feel like, that I've come up with. And so you never know what the next good idea is that I'm going to come up with. Who knows? But anyway. We're nearly done with the wheat field, which is great, right? So if we look at the animals, there's 7,000 liters of food in there for the chickens now. Probably sufficient, but really, I mean, as I mentioned in the last episode, really this wheat is really here for the chickens, right? So we're probably just going to put all of this in there for the chickens. I don't see a reason to not do it. Sure, could I make money off of selling this? Yeah, sure, of course I could. Of course I could, but I don't know. I think it's better off being there for the chickens than anything else because, you know, once they're reproducing at a rapid rate, right? And so when they're through that food, we're not going to have anything else to feed them for a long, long time, right? So in my eyes, I think it makes more sense for us just to go ahead and give them all of this food. So hopefully that'll be enough to hold them over until we have another field that's ready to harvest to feed them, right? Now, speaking of that, they've got 7,000 liters of food, right? So That's why I'm kind of thinking maybe combining this field, even though I said I wasn't going to do it. I'm still kind of thinking about combining this field and making it just one big, massive wheat or barley field, something we can utilize, to feed the chickens, right? I'm just going to park this here right now. I'll put this away later. I don't know. The problem is if we're going to do that, right, we're going to be waiting a few months, unless I guess I could offset them. They don't have to actually be together. I guess I could just make this wheat too. Maybe that's what we do. Worker is almost done, which is good. Just my concern, the reason why I'm saying all this is my concern is that we're going to run out of food for the chickens. I really do have that concern. It's a lot of food, don't get me wrong. We've got a lot of food in there, but there's 250-something chickens in there, and they can potentially reproduce up to 500. I mean, they're going to require a lot of food, right? They're going to require a lot of food. So, yeah, I'm kind of leaning towards doing another wheat field or a barley field for the other one. I think that's probably what we're going to end up doing. Look at all those bales over there. Man, that is going to be a gold mine of clothes coming our way. I cannot wait for that. Soon enough, as I mentioned before, we will get some kind of a tailor shop so we can make fabric first and then, turn that into clothes, because we'll make a little bit. It's not a crazy amount of addition, but it will be a little bit more money from the clothes because you get a little bit more out of it. Just real quick, just to round out all of the stuff that I kind of rambled on about here for a little while. So I was talking about a new series. Until that Mod Hub situation gets resolved, we're going to continue to run the Can You Survive 25 series. I'm not going to remove that series until that happens. I'm hoping that it's resolved before I would even, consider stopping the Can You Survive 25 series. Like I mentioned, it's probably not going to... At least initially, my plan was not to stop it until somewhere in the mid-July range. And I say stop it, just put it on a break. We'll see, I guess. But if they don't have it fixed by then there's a big, big problem. So hopefully it is. Hopefully it is. But we're going to put all of it in here. I know I talked about, should I not? We're going to put it all in here. It's all going in there. Yeah, there's 451 chickens in there. They reproduced again, so yeah, they're going to need all this food. They're going to need more food than what we're putting in here. They're probably going to have periods of time where they're not producing anything, and that's really unfortunate because that's a lot of animals. Now, what I guess I could do, I just now kind of thought about this, but I guess what I could do is go in and sell some of the chickens. That way they don't eat as much food. Maybe we wait and see between now and October and see how things go. I think that's what we do. I think we wait and see how things progress here between now and October. Yeah, let's do that. Let's wait and see how things go between now and October. I think that's a better approach for us. 100%. All right, let's get this field plowed up. And then I'll get the stones up off of it, and then we're going to put wheat in here again. I'm just going to keep using wheat. I'm just going to run right into my harvesters. Wonderful. Good job, Z. Way to go, buddy. Anyway, I'll get this field plowed up. We'll get the stones up. We'll get wheat in here. Hopefully by then, it should be before then, but hopefully by then the worker will be done with all the cotton bales over there, and then we can pick all those cotton bales up and drop those off at Grandma's Knitwear. And get the grannies working again. Getting them, making some clothes for me. Making my gold mine. Okay, we're making progress here, gang. I've got the worker already started on doing the drilling of the wheat field over there. I'm trying to get all the bales up here, the cotton bales up here. I am sure I am missing some. I know for a fact I will. But that's okay. When we decide to plow this field up, we'll push the rest of those out of here and be able to pick them up at that point. You probably saw that I was struggling a little bit for a minute there with the rock collector, because part of that field, for whatever reason, I don't understand why, had no rocks at all appearing when I was plowing it up, and then the other part did. So I'm not sure why that was, but I thought there was some kind of an issue, so I had to go back into the menu again. I hate going into the menu multiple times when it's a time lapse, so I apologize for that. But yeah, that was a little weird, a little bizarre. I wasn't anticipating or expecting that. So anyway, but we were able to, I guess, get it sorted out, I guess is how I'll put it. Also had to throw some of the grass bales off of this, so I apologize for that. It might have been a little bit nauseating. I don't know for sure. I won't really know until I get into the time lapse there and see how it looks when it's sped up. But yeah, not really something I was anticipating either. I thought we had already moved all of them off there, but I guess I didn't. I guess I only moved some of them. This is a lot of bales, gang. This is a lot of bales. Look at this. I mean, this is a lot of bales. And like I said, I know for a fact we've missed some. I know for a fact we have. I'm trying to take, some pretty sharp turns here when I get to the end to make sure that we're not missing anything, but there's a guarantee that I've missed at least a couple of them. I guarantee it. But we're already at over 100 square bales here of cotton, which is, I mean, that's awesome, right? Now, I think the problem is going to be that if I have to, which I'm going to, I know I'm going to, if I'm going to have to unload these all manually, this is, it's going to take a while. It's going to take a while. It's going to take a while. Now, the easiest way for me to do it without actually, going through and plowing it up and just pushing them out of here, the easiest way for me to figure out if we missed anything or not, I know for a fact there's one down there I have to go get that I missed, but the easiest way to do it is just to kind of zoom way out like this and do a very weird, awkward angle here. This is by far the easiest way to figure it out. And actually, it looks like I didn't do too bad. I'm not really seeing any. Doesn't mean there's not one. I'm not seeing any. This is the one I was talking about that I knew I had to come back and get. Okay, evidently there's two of them there. Evidently we're still not going to pick it up. Weird. Okay, here's some over here. At least one of them over there. Yeah, so not the best, quality angle to watch, but it really is the easiest way to see if you miss any. Because the bales are kind of dark, so they're kind of hard to see, right? So when you get this higher perspective, it certainly helps point them out a little bit easier than otherwise would. Looks like we got everything else, at least that I can see. So 127 bales of cotton from this field right here. That's better than fantastic. That is phenomenal is what that is. Look at all those bales, man. Look at how many bales there are. That is insane amount of bales. $127 bales. I don't even know what that... I can't even comprehend how much wool that's going to be. Or cotton, excuse me. Cotton, not wool. I can't even comprehend how much cotton that's going to be. Now, I'm not too worried about the fact that we only have $1,888. We've got, well, technically right there's 6 pallets of crickets we can sell for around $1,000 each. We know that. So I'm not that concerned about that. I'm really not. We may have to do it before we jump to the next month. Maybe. Let's do a quick autosave here. I'm going to see if I can get these off. I know before, when it was... I know before when it was... sand on the ground, we were able to unload these like I'm trying to do here. But we've been struggling since then, so we're going to give it another shot and hope for the best here. And it worked that time, mostly, so that's good. That's really good. I don't know why we were struggling before so much with it, but, you know, whatever. It worked now, so we'll take it. All right, how many is that? How many is that? 16,955 liters. That is a lot. That is a lot. That is going to make so many clothes for us. That is going to be absolute insanity. I cannot wait to see how many pallets we get out of that. And I should have did this when I was over here earlier, but there are more pallets of wool over here as well to carry, right? So, now granted, it's literally only one, really. There's part of another one, but not a full one. But we'll bring it over there anyway. Since we got Grandma's Knitwear going now, we might as well turn that one on for the wool as well, just to keep that progress moving, right? So what do you think? Do you think this is the right decision to add the sand back, the sand texture back for the trek? I think it was, personally. That's the reason why I did it. But what are your thoughts on it? Do you think I made the right decision? Knowing full and well that I spent a lot of money to do so. You know, obviously wasted money beforehand and then switched it, and then we switched it back. So I'm fully aware that I spent a lot of extra money that I didn't really need to spend, right? The fence was the big portion, right? If we didn't put the fence down, we'd still have $11,000, $12,000 right now, maybe $13,000. I can't remember exactly how much the fence was, but I know it was over $10,000, right? So I don't know. We're going to flip around here real quick. I'm going to try to get that last one. And I'm going to try to see if I can unload these very similarly to what we just did with the cotton. That'll work. That will work. All right, we're going to leave that there for right now. They should be fine. They should eat through that eventually. We're going to have to start moving some grass over there soon enough, which is a good thing. It's a good problem to have. But they should be fine for a little while there with the meadow grass they have, plus those remaining bales. It should be a little while still before they'll be at a stage where they'll be ready. But soon enough, right? Soon enough, that will become something we're going to have to deal with as well. All right, so we'll drop that off there. I'm just going to park the John Deere right here. And how's the worker doing? Nearly done. Let's just cancel the worker there. We'll take over. Looks like they missed a bit. They always miss this bit up here. And I don't know if you noticed in the time lapse either, but I kept hitting, once again, what I like to call just a big massive boulder that just jumps the whole entire tractor and whatever implement I have attached to it up into the air. I'm not sure why that's happening. It happens quite often, honestly, on this map, but I don't really know why. There's no rocks or boulders as far as I can see, so I don't know where all of that is coming from. Now, in the next episode, my plan is to kind of pick up, some of the other stuff that I've kind of just left, scattered around. I don't really like doing that, but in this instance, I'm going to. So we'll get the both the harvesters up for, well, the crop harvesters up. Then we'll get the cotton harvester, or the cotton baler, and get that taken care of as well. We also have some green beans to pick up off the field, so we'll do that too. And then obviously we can get the straw up on the field behind us that we just finished harvesting, and then get both these fields plowed up, right? And get them reseeded with some oilseed radish, along with the green bean field as well. But for now, we are going to leave the episode here. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you smash... Ooh, excuse me. Make sure you smash the like and subscribe button in case you've yet to do so. They are free to do, and they help me out an absolute ton. Thanks to my members for all their continued support. As I mentioned earlier on in this episode, if you want early access to videos like this one, there's a link down below. Make sure you check out the second channel, check out the Discord. Everything, as always, is down below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.